Hello, today we are going to use a watercolor pencil. We're also going to use a ruler and we are going to measure out because we are going to create 12 boxes. So I'm just measuring out 3 lines that I'm going to put across the page there and 2 either side here, and then I'm going to get the ruler and I'm going to draw down and make these lines and create these lovely little boxes. So we've got 12 boxes there and we've got our Malang paints, and I've just picked some favorite colors. So I've got a very pinky red here and I've got a flat brush, and I'm using that flat brush to create this flat kind of square within the square. So I've got the cadmium orange here and I am doing another square, just being a little bit random, not really thinking about it, just putting where I can see there is no orange. You know, we are going to be doing squares inside squares, so we're going to be adding some of these colors inside of the squares we've already done. And I've got a bit of a pink here, adding that, and then going in and adding that second square. The paint is still wet underneath, so I'm not worrying that the paint is actually merging into each other. I'm actually quite liking the way that's looking, and I'm just adding colours wherever I think. So I'm having a bit of trouble there. The colour I was putting down looked too much like the 2 outside colours, so I've just deepened it with a bit more of that red paint. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. This is easy art. This is don't worry about it. Let's just have a bit of fun kind of art. So you just need to go and pick up your paints and just get the paint down and not worry too much about it. Adding a bit of green and blue vibrancy now to the painting, just to make it pop a little bit. So opposite side of the colour wheel just gives it a bit of zing and really pulls out those squares so you can see them in a bit of depth. So just adding more lines here and there. And then what we're going to do, we're going to let our paint dry and we are going to add some more detail. Now you may want to just leave it at this, or you may want to be with me and add some detail to your squares. So you can see them there, they're looking all lovely. So I've just grabbed the watercolor pencils, outlining some of those shapes and just doing some squares around. Just adds that little bit more detail. If you haven't got watercolor pencils, you can just use regular pencils or acrylic paint markers, or maybe you don't want to do these square shapes, you want to add some other detail, and that's fine. Just go with the flow, whatever you think. I just wanted to deepen these squares a little bit more and have a little bit of contrast going on there, and I think that's working out well. Very random, really hash, you know, it's not perfect by any means. This is just about having that little bit of fun and enjoying yourself. So when you finish with the pencils, you might want to add some more detail. And I've grabbed an acrylic white paint pen, adding some little dots here and there, just because I love dots, I love circles, and I just love the way it makes the picture look. So just adding them randomly over the page, just scrolling it over, and that's making me feel all good. And then once I've completed that, I'm having a look at some of my old paintings that I've done previously. And I've got this old painting here that I'd done, a grid art, and I thought that'd be really, really nice to cut up into little hearts. So just cutting through, cutting off all of those white edges, just preparing these squares so that I can cut out the hearts. So just edging them off nicely. And then I'm grabbing one of them and then just cutting around. You could pencil out your hearts or any shape you want. I'm doing it a little bit freehand, not worrying too much. Some of them are, you know, they're a little bit misshapen and they're not perfect, but that's fine by me. I quite like that kind of look. If you're more of a perfectionist, you might want to draw them out and be a little bit more careful than what I am. Whatever floats your boat, really. So I'm just cutting out some more and just doing exactly the same, cutting off those white edges, squaring them up, then grabbing one of them and then creating these lovely little hearts. And what we're going to be doing is sticking these little hearts down and creating a picture that is a little bit 3D, which actually stands up from the page, which I think is quite nice when you see it. You can do it as part of your art journal, or you can just do it as a free picture just like this, maybe put it in a box frame. So I've got my Mod Podge and I'm just sticking them down. So what I've done is folded them in half. So I'm sticking down the one half of that heart onto the paper and they're all going in the same direction. So when I started to cut them out, I sort of roughly measured out how big the hearts need to be to fill that square. So that just worked out quite well with the grid art that I'd done. And then I'm just sticking them all down here. And I'm going to need to secure them down to make sure that they get all stuck. So I've just put a heavy book on there and I'm just pulling them up, and then I'm just going to pull up the edges of those lovely hearts so they stick up away from the page. So when you see it from the side, you will see these lovely hearts and they will give this 3D kind of look. Heated up all the tape, pulling that off, and then I'll bring the page up to the camera so you can have a good look at that. So that's the lovely hearts, the flick up hearts there, and I think they've turned up really nice. I really like them. Hope you get to try this. It's so easy to do, as you could see, and it's great utilising bits of art that you've done previously and you're not quite sure what to do. They're not really good enough for a frame, but you want to do something. This is ideal for this kind of art. So let me know if you try this. I'd love to hear your story. Okay, well, thanks for spending the time. Hope to see you again soon. Okay then, bye.